meeting saya tak habis lagi, saya terpaksa stop. Okay, so we continue. Sekejap. Hari tu kita stop dekat mana? Saya lupa nak catat. Presentation kan? Betul?
Betul tu.
Okay. Saya tak catat, nasib baik saya ingat. Kalau tak you all diam je
Doctor,
Yeah,
I have a question.
yes.
My section was changed to section 30. Is it the same section as now?
Same section. Because right now, okay, section 7 and 8 have more than 40 people. So if more than 40 students, and then they divide into different sections. So they create another new section, section 13. So right now, in total, in our class, we have 81 students. Okay, banyak tu, 81 students. Okay, so kita hari tu dekat strategic management ke management? Management yesterday and today or strategic management? Management yesterday and today. Okay. Can you see my slide?
Yes, Doktor.
Nampak.
Alright. Okay. So previously we divided into days, okay? And we already done for scientific management, betul?
Betul, Doktor.
Okay.
Betul.
So we go for the general administrative theory, either group 3, 4 or 14. Okay, I stop sharing. So group 3, 4 or 14, anyone would like to present? Because today is only 1 hour, so we cannot waste our time. No takers, okay. Group 14. Mana you all punya nama group? SEMM. Group 14, we can see siapa yang kena. Hakim Rafi'i, please. Ada tak Hakim Rafi'i? Dia kalau diam-diam ni tak boleh masuk kelas saya ni. Okay, Hakim Rafi'i ada. Nak masuk kelas saya, you have to active and you have to participate with all the activities. Come on, kita dah bazir masa ni. Sebab lepas ni saya kena sambung lagi meeting tadi yang terstop tadi.
Boleh nampak ke?
Okay, yes. And then make it slideshow.
Wait.
Okay, nice. Okay, start. Over to you, Hakim.
Okay. So for the second topic is about general administrative theory. The definition of general administrative theory is a set of 14 principle management that is set by a guy named Henry Fayol. He is a French mining engineer and an executive. So the reason that he set this 14 principle of management is because he believed that these 14 principles are able to be applied to any businesses. So these are the 14 principles: um, division of work, um, with, sorry, um, division of work, authority, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, subordination of individual interests to the general interest, remuneration, centralization, scalar chain, order, equity, stability of tenure of personnel, initiative, and esprit de corps. So to go in detail for each of these 14 principles, for the first one, division of work, it is a specialization that increases output by making employees more efficient. So basically, it increases, it divides work into parts that allows people to specialize things, to work on things that they specialize in, so that they can do their work with more efficient, so it can produce more output faster.
Okay, give the example so that your friends can understand on that. Or
So
maybe other group, group 4 and group apa lagi satu tadi? You can add on as well. Give more example on that.
so for example, in automotive section, to make a car, we divide the car into several uh, critical components, and then each team will be specialized in one component, and they will work on that component to be able to, and the team that is specialized on one component, for example an engine, the engine component. So if for a car, um, if one team work on the engine and then another team work on the chassis, then they are able to focus their work on one part, and at the end of the uh, production, they can just um, join the parts at the end without having one team doing all the work. So it saves time in the long run for division of work.
Okay.
So for the second one, the authority is the managers must be able to give orders, and authority gives them this right. So authority is basically the hierarchy of work. Like we have managers and we have workers under him. So for a manager to be able to control his team, he must be able to have an to have authority to um, to make his workers under him do their job properly.
Alright.
Apart from that, for the third one is discipline. So employees must obey and respect the rules that govern the organization. So like I said, um, for a work hierarchy, every employees must obey rules, because for every company there are rules that they need to be following. So if they want to increase productivity and work safety, they have to obey and respect the rules. Apart from that is unity of command. Every employee should receive orders from only one superior. This is a common work ethics, because as like an English phrase said, too many cooks will make too many cook will ruin a dish. So for worker, they need to only be able to follow the
One instruction only
the
lah
the
from one
instruction,
guy.
yeah, from only
Okay.
one superior, so that they don't create any confusion at the
Right.
end by the end product. For the fifth one is a unity of direction. The organization should have a single plan of action to guide managers and workers. So for like every subject, we have at the start of the course we have what do we call that? Course learning outcome. So a set of outcomes that we need to be achieved by the end of the course. So that is basically the unity of direction. The direction is set at the start of any project so that by the end of it, we are able to achieve that project by following the guidelines that has been set at the start of any project so that the project can be done smoothly from start to finish.
Okay.
And then for the sixth is the subordination of individual interest to general interest. The interest of any one employee or group of employees should not take precedence over the interest of the organization of a whole. So this means that for any group or for any process to succeed, they need to follow bigger uh, the the company's interest over their their own small group interest, so that at the end of the day, all these small groups that work under one big division will have to combine their work. So if they don't have the same interests, then by the end of the project they won't be able to complete it. I think that's what I understand from this.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Hakim. So next, from other group, group 3. It's okay. You can share the slide as well
Okay.
because it's the same points.
Yeah. Can you see?
Group 3. Group 3. You vanish. You vanish the present ke hari tu?
Itu supply chain, madam.
Oh, supply chain. Okay, see. Kita cari orang lain lah, Sharwin. Sharwin.
Hello, Dr.
Okay, continue for principle number 7 and onwards.
So number 7, the remuneration. So workers must be paid a fair wage for their service. For example, so I think the basic salary for operators in normal company nowadays is 1,200 1,200 ringgit. So still some company are paying below than that, around 1,100 ringgit, something like that. So in this case, the organization should follow the uh, standard wage, uh, which is um, which is decided by the government. Government. Um, okay, for next centralization, these terms refer to the degree to which subordinates are involved in decision makings. For example, so if there is a project, means the project manager is the main person here. So he the one have to make the decision here. Then he should uh, make the decision and tell the tell the workers who work under him, like supervisor, the project, the line leader, she should divided the she should divide the uh, she should make the decision and divides the works to the supervisor, and the supervisor later have to divide the divide the work to line leader, and then only the line leader should instruct
No,
the operators.
centralization means that when they are doing the decision making, they can do the consensus as well. Okay, even though in this 14 principle by Henry Fayol, saying, okay, we have to receive the command from only one superior. But in order to make a decision, is centralization. Everyone have to take part. Okay, all right, next. Scholar Chin.
Scala change the line of authority from top management to the lowest ranks is the Scala chain.
Nah, ini yang tadi yang you explain tadi.
Oh,
It has the hierarchy. Okay. So they have the authority line.
from
Okay,
the
next.
all the people and materials should be in the right place at right time. So this one, when a project is ongoing, so uh, the manpower should be, so there should be enough manpower, and the material should be ready before the project starts, so it can it can help the project to take place smoothly like that.
Okay.
Next, equity. Managers should be kind and fair to their subordinates. And this one, kind and fair to the subordinates. A manager should be fair when dividing the work to the workers below them. Like he should give the work with same weightage to all of these workers.
Okay, no races, no pilih kasih. So that is equity lah. Okay, next.
Stability of tenure and of personnel. Management should provide already personal training, and ensure that replacements are available to fill vacancies. The management should plan earlier to make the things easier for them. If someone is resigning his job, means they should aware of that and should appoint a new worker to fill that place. I think like that.
Okay, the last two.
Initiative. Employees who are allowed to originate and carry out plans will exert high level of effort. And the 14.1, esprit de corps, promoting team spirit will build harmony and unity within the organizations.
Semangat kekawanan. So that is esprit de corps. Alright, okay, thank you Sharwin. Okay, so in terms of presentation and intonation, Sharwin have to improve a lot lah. Okay, kalau tak nanti kawan you dah ngantuk dalam kelas.
Okay.
Alright, so thanks Hakim. So you can close the slide. Alright, so any question on general administrative theory? because general administrative theory ni is actually is implemented in any organizations. You can see in Proton also they divide the work to the for the specialized worker, and then in fact siapa yang dekat Shimano, anyone intern in Shimano? So Shimano also have the operation and they divide specific tasks for the specific operator, so that when the worker specialize on that particular job, so they can increase their efficiency to perform the job. Okay, and then the rest too is common because, for example, you only have one superior. You cannot have more than superior, so that easy for you to understand and receive the instruction. Okay. All right. So next.
Madam,
Yeah.
I have a question, madam. Is this 14 principle listed in the labor's law of Malaysia? Is it like every organization compulsory have to follow this 14 principles?
No. Okay. This idea of 14 principles is produced by Henry Fayol. Okay. So in general for Labour Act, they only says, okay, the worker have to work not more than 12 hours. Only stated, very simple one. Okay, very general. But this is the idea on the how you conduct the give the instruction to the worker, how you want to make sure your management style is more effective and efficient. So that is the idea from Henry Fayol.
All right. Thank you, doctor.
Okay, but the in this course, okay, we don't ask you to memorize all these 14 principles, but you have to understand, okay, for general administrative theory, okay, what is the example that you can bring in and relate with these 14 principles. So at least you can have 4 or 5 ideas on the general administrative theory. So afterwards you can relate because previously you went to the internship, right? So from your observation, then you can relate whatever you observe into this theory. We don't ask you to memorize. So that's why I keep asking for students to participate and, present, discuss. If you don't break your mind to open for discussion, and it is difficult for you to score in this course. And then in fact, it's difficult for you to survive when you graduate later. Okay, because after you graduate, a lot of talking, a lot of discussion, a lot of thinking you have to put together to blend in with other team members. Okay.
Yes, true, Prof.
Okay. So that's why when I say, okay, you present, just present. And then from there, you can train your mind to and your mouth to talk and think at the same time. Okay, next we go quantitative management.
Saya tu, guru 15.
Okay, I like this. Okay, Nick, please.
Alright. Sekejap Okay, nampak?
In progress.
Okay.
Okay.
Nampak?
Make
Okay.
it slideshow.
Alright. Okay.
Present in short and concise.
Okay. Okay, first of all, my name is Nick Abdul Hasib from group 15. Okay, I will present about the quantitative management. So quantitative management is first.
Slideshow, Nick.
Slideshow. Sekejap. Dia nampak macam ni saya tak.
Ke saya je yang tak nampak slideshow?
Sekejap, saya share screen je. Nampak? Nampak dah?
Okay, nampak.
Okay. Okay, quantitative management was first developed by Frederick Winslow Taylor. He developed during the early 1900s, which laid the basis to the study of managerial problem. Quantitative management use computer to observe past relationship and use them to create model for stock selection. So they use past data and create a model so they can use for future reference. So the obvious benefit is the simplicity using a model once it is established. Okay, next is the history of quantitative management. So quantitative management first developed during the World War II, where the US and the UK Army, they brought together business manager, government official and scientists to help them decide the best way to utilize their existing resources. So during war, there are limited resources, so they need to utilize the resources, but they don't know how, so they invite the brilliant minds such as the business manager, government official to help them. So this expert, they because of the different domain and areas, so they came up with a mathematical and statistical approach, which is devised by Frederick Winslow Taylor to solve the logistic problem. So this is how the quantitative based management emerged. Okay. Next is the branches of quantitative management. So there are three main branches of quantitative management, which is management science, operation management, and management information system. So these branches use the application of statistic, optimization model, information model, and computer simulation to assist in decision-making process. So this approach focus on achieving organizational effectiveness through the application of mathematical and statistical concept. So they use mathematics to achieve effectiveness. Okay. Next is the application of quantitative management. So there are seven application, which is finance, budgeting and investment, marketing, personnel, research and development, production, purchasing, procurement and exploration, and lastly the physical distribution. Okay, next is the quantitative management techniques. This technique is the the model in quantitative management, such as the theory of probability, sampling analysis, correlation analysis, time series analysis, and so on. Okay. Next is the positive and negative aspect of quantitative management. So first is the benefit, which is it establishes relationship between quantifiable variable of decision-making situation and facilitate disciplined thinking. It also use the mathematical model, which help to derive precise and accurate result by analyzing complex statistical data. It also useful in area of planning and control where data is available in quantitative terms. So decisions are based on data and logic rather than intuition and judgment. And finally, is the computer-based statistical package are available, which facilitate analysis of qualitative data. Also, dummy variable are used to analyze the non-quantifiable data. So, so because we have created a model, so it is easier to use. Next is the negative of quantitative management. So the negative is that the mathematical model cannot fully account for individual behavior and attitude. So they only rely on numbers, but they doesn't include the person behavior or attitude. It also require time to develop competence in quantitative technique, which may delay the development of other managerial skill. So in order to create the model, they need time. So the time allocated for creating the model can push other managerial skill aside. Okay, next is the mathematical model typically require a set of assumptions which may not be realistic in the industrial setting. So I think we all know that mathematical have a lot of assumption to calculate. So in the real situation, the assumption may not be realistic. So it cannot be it cannot represent the 100% of the situation. Okay, next is the among the different function of management, it is limited to organizing, staffing, and directing. And it applies more on planning and control function. So because of the reliance on data only, so uh, they cannot expand way beyond the organizing, staffing, and directing, which may require to include such as personal behavior or attitude. Next is it does not eliminate risk, but only attempt to reduce it. Yeah, we using this quantitative management, the risk cannot be reduced, but can only be reduced. Can, cannot be eliminated, but only can be reduced.
Okay.
Next is it assumed that all variables affecting the problem can be quantified in numerical terms, which is not always true. So, yeah, mathematics, not everything can be quantified in numerical terms. Like behavior, you cannot say he apa, he that behavior is one, that behavior is two. You cannot quantify behavior, so you cannot include. You cannot use this quantitative management. Lastly is the decision are often based on availability of limited information. So it require a lot of information such as past data to forecast future data. So it need a lot of information. For example, you just build up a company, so you don't have previous data, so you cannot come up with a model or mathematical model to help you. So that is the negative of quantitative management. Okay, last is the example of quantitative management. First is manager can use computer model to figure out the best way to do something, saving both time and money. So using the already developed model, they can save time and money. So they just input data and the computer do all the work. So they can save time. Okay, next is mathematical forecasting, help make projection that are useful in planning process. So using the model, they can came up with a forecast of the future event, which can help them to plan. Okay, next is inventory modeling, help
Tak apa.
control
Kita
inventory by
bagi
mathematical.
dua je contoh, Hasib.
Okay, dua je. Alright. That's all
Okay.
from
Alright, thank
quantitative
you very
management.
much. Okay,
Okay.
Hasib.
Alright.
Very
Thank you.
short, very concise, very clear. Okay. Okay, any question? Any question for quantitative management? Any question or discussion you want to open for discussion? Tak ada. Alright. Okay, so we go for next one. OB, organizational behavior.
Assalamualaikum, nanti saya share screen.
Okay, please. You section mana?
Saya section 7,
Section 7.
group 7.
Section pula, group 7. Okay.
Okay,
Prompt bagus.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ahmad Ikhlas from Group 7. So, okay. So I will be presenting about the organizational behavior, or in short, we call it OB, as one of the major approaches to management.
Make it slideshow, Ahmad.
Dah.
Ke saya punya ni yang tak?
Kena share screen.
Eh?
Kalau application dia tak nampak slideshow.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Ah, ah.
sebenarnya. Nampak ke?
Okay, nice.
Okay. Okay, so yes, so understanding organizational behavior as one of the major approaches to management. So what is organizational behavior? So basically it is the study of different factors which affects actions of people at their workplace lah. So what organizational behavior allows us to do is it allows firstly for people to understand, analyze, as well as describe behavior in an organization. This is important because people or humans is basically one of the most important assets in an organization lah. Without people, then there will be no organization. Secondly, it also allows us to improve, enhance, as well as changing our work behaviors so that different individuals, groups, as well as the whole organization can achieve common goals. So what are the factors that we are dealing with in an organizational behavior as approach to management is firstly we deal with human psychology, which deals with individual personality as well as their motivation. Secondly, we deal with sociology, which is just how those individuals interact and have relationship with each other. We also deal with political science, which covers different power settings, influence, as well as authority. Next, economics. It's important, especially in an organization which have cost. Yes, so it's important in our decision making. So yes, because we are dealing with people, it's important to understand and realize that medical science is also an important factor as well, because we humans go through different periods of moods and we go through stress. Next is anthropology, which basically just deals with the diversity of different cultural background, linguistics, yeah, so those things. Okay, so how does this concept came about is firstly from this guy in the early 1700s, Robert Owen, which suggests that workplace condition have an effect on people behavior, and that an idealistic workplace will have an improvement in employees' efficiency. So that's what he suggested in the late 1700s. And then the early 1900s, Hugo Munsterberg is one of the pioneer in the field of industrial psychology, which is the scientific study of people at work. He suggests that for people to start using psychological tests during employee selection, as well as during the training of employees, and from those tests we study human behavior. Okay, also in the early 1900s, Mary Parker Follett suggests that a company, for example, can be viewed as an organization with hierarchy lah. So we have the boss and then the employees and the workers and stuff like that. He proposed because remember when one of the major approach to management is also scientific management, right? She proposed that rather than just focusing on the scientific management concept, we need to also focus on a more people-oriented ideas, so that organization should be based more on a group ethics rather than just scientific findings. And then in the 1930s, Chester Barnard said that organization is a social system in which it needed cooperation, not just organization with just a common goal, but to achieve those common goals, we need cooperation between members. Chester Barnard was also a manager who thought that in an organization there is the need to communicate and stimulate employees, not just instruction as without stimulation or motivation. Okay, so 4 basic models of organization behavior are listed here. So we have the autocratic, custodial, supportive, and collegial as well. So as you can see here, these are the basics of the model. In autocratic, managerial orientation deals with heavily on power, in which there's a boss with absolute power, and you have that person will have an authority over all of the employees and micromanaging all of the employees. So the employees will be dependent on the boss, and employees need met is subsistence, which means it's basically the minimal needs are met without any kind of motivation, and the performance result is very insignificant lah. In the custodial model, it kind of the base is economic resources, which deals with money. So basically different economic resources affects how an organization is run. So for example, if you have more money, then maybe people are more oriented towards money lah. It depends on the organization itself. Employees feel security, and there is not very much cooperation. It's very passive cooperation. In the supportive model, there is introduction of a leadership rather than just absolute power, as in the autocratic model. Employees feel supported and wanting to participate in the organization. Employees feel that they have status and some recognition, and they have some motivation as well to better the organization. In the collegial, rather than a leadership where you have the boss and the employee, you have basically co-partners, so partnership, which deals with teamwork and not very much managed, but mostly self-disciplined and self-actualization based. Okay, moderate enthusiasm. So basically, these are the 4 models, basic models that have been identified throughout the years lah. But going forward, even nowadays, all of these 4 models, it can't be really seen on its own lah. So basically, it's kind of evolved into a merge of 2 or 3 different models in an organization. So in one organization, you could have you could also have for all of these 4 models which are combined together. And so at different levels, you have different kind of models or managerial orientation, which is very good because it's evolving. It meets the needs of the current situation. Okay, so one of the studies that has been carried out in the 1927 to 1932 in one of the company is the study to investigate the correlation between working environment and productivity of employees. So what they did was basically just changing different settings of working environment. So for example, lighting, they increase or decrease the lighting environment at the workplace. And then deals with breaks. They shorten or lengthen the time of their breaks, or as well as working hours. So the experimental findings is that at any settings, at any changes of the working environment, productivity will increase, even the conditions is worsened. This is because employees feel that employers or their bosses are giving them attention, which means they want to give something back, you know, like they want to give results. So that's why productivity increases. And they also found that even the effect of incentive plans was less than expected, which means that the conclusion from that Hawthorne studies is social norms, group standards, and attitudes more strongly influence individual output and work behavior rather than monetary incentives. So as I said, because employees feel that there is an increase of attention from employers, so that's why we find these results. But not one lah, there are some critics of this study which says that this may also be due to demand characteristic as well as the novelty effects. Demand characteristics is basically just, for example, when we know what we're trying to prove or disprove, we kind of subconsciously trying to achieve that result. So employees were told that, okay, we are trying to change your working environment and see whether this will increase or decrease your productivity. So employees may at the moment feel that, oh, okay, the working environment is changed. Maybe I should increase my productivity and efficiency, something like that. Novelty effects is basically the same thing, but it's different. But it's like you want some results. Okay. In the organizational behavior, there are some challenges that we might face. Deals with fairness and justice, challenge decision-making, performance, as well as flexibility. This is because these are the factors that may, so for example, age, gender, race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, socioeconomic background, capabilities or disabilities, may be a challenge for people to behave or not behave in the certain way. So yes, so that's the study of organizational behavior as one of the approach to
Okay, thank you, Ahmad Ikhlas. Okay, just a very short one. Okay, give me one leader, okay, either in Malaysia or in the world that you can relate with organizational behavior.
one leader. I mean, any leader can be leader. For example, even in Malaysia, we have the Prime Minister and different ministers that deals with different sections of the country, right? So the Prime Minister deals with the major or macro management of the country, but we have different ministers that deals with the more specific related jobs. So that could be a supportive model, for example. But even
Is there any autocratic leader that you know?
maybe not in Malaysia, but you know, in Myanmar we have the Burmese, or even North Korea. Kim Jong Un is definitely an autocratic power lah for his country.
Okay. So if you can relate that, then okay, meaning that you understand. Okay. So similar with your friends, when your colleagues presenting the characteristics of the management style. So if you can relate that characteristics into a person that you know, the leader in the world or the leader in Malaysia. So meaning, okay, you are well understand on that particular subject. Okay, so now it's almost 11 o'clock. So, okay, is there any question? We will continue for another 2 groups, but try to make it about 10 minutes to present so that we can continue for other chapter. Okay, is there any question on management style or management approach for the 4 characteristics? No response? No, alright.
For now,
Okay.
tak ada question, Doktor.
Kenapa susah sangat nak bercakap, macam kenapa mesti nak tulis? Just response immediately. Okay, you will make the class, whether it's happening or you just keep quiet, it's very formal. So I will react based on your reaction. Okay, so if you want to make this class is more fun, more more discussion, room discussion. So apa yang segannya? Your final year kan? Okay, tak apa, ni kita baru second week. So nanti we go on the 7 week, 8 weeks, then you will get used with this approach. Alright, so with that, I end this session. So have a nice day and good day. Okay, bye. Assalamualaikum.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Welcome.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, ramai je yang cakap.